Mr. Young, how are you?
All right, you?
Yeah, yeah. Very good, very good. Just been out for a run, which I cut short by 5 minutes to get back for you, and you were late.
I do feel privileged.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to do something else later. It was just good to get out actually and get some, get the blood pumping and get some fresh air in my lungs. So
That's going to be a big thing, I think, going forward. I think a lot of people are going to benefit more from getting an hour or two's exercise a day, don't you?
yeah. Well, it's just like I get usually 40 minutes to an hour. Like yesterday, I ran in the morning yesterday for 30 minutes. So that's about 5K. And then I did an hour's private boxing and Muay Thai class with a guy last night in Doncaster. So that was a very sweaty affair. That was good. So yesterday I got like 90 minutes exercise, and I'll probably do another 30 minutes later today. So I'll get an hour today in total as well, you know.
Very good.
But for me, I like doing it, and I feel I don't feel that great if I don't exercise. You know, I was watching Tyson Fury. He was in an interview with his wife Paris on Good Morning, and he was saying about his training and that, and he said 6 days a week he trains. He says the seventh day he dedicates totally to the family, doesn't do any exercise or training, but he said it's a tough day for him without doing some exercise. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Yes. So this is recording, which is absolutely fabulous. So would you like to share your screen with me and we kick off on this, what I guess is a bit of a LinkedIn masterclass, yeah?
Well, I don't know whether you'd call it a masterclass. I'll give you a few tips.
Well, I think anything from you to do with LinkedIn's a bit of a masterclass, isn't it, Simon, with your depth and breadth and experience of knowledge? I mean, you've been on it since virtually day one, haven't you, from a sort of quasi-developer's point of view, yeah?
I've done a bit, you could put it that way. I've been on the wrong side of LinkedIn as well. So, yeah, I've got a little bit of background.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting comment you make there, isn't it? For everybody's benefit, the wrong side of LinkedIn. Because what's the right side of LinkedIn? I've literally, I won't say who because it might embarrass her, but I just came off a phone call with a friend of mine from LinkedIn, and super person. And since I came out of a particular pod on LinkedIn, and I've been away out of the country doing consultancy work, as you know, when I've dropped into LinkedIn periodically, it seems to me from the outside that she, over the last 6 months, had gained an awful lot of traction and had become a quote unquote little bit, not quite a micro celebrity on LinkedIn, but 60, 100 likes or whatever on post, which was when I knew her before 6 months ago when I was in the same pod. And pods are another thing we should maybe discuss for people's benefit here, but she didn't appear to have as much traction, yeah? So I said, oh, congratulations. And she said, yeah, thanks, but here's the kicker, right side or wrong side of LinkedIn. That perceived presence and traction and maybe even, go-to person status on LinkedIn has not translated into her bookings and bank account.
Right.
So, she's a bit disappointed. She's, even considering, do I keep on posting to the degree I do? Do I scale it down? Do I not bother? Do I put my energy into something else? Because she's not getting any gratification out of it.
Without saying who is, what does she do? What's the business?
Well, if I said what she did, then it'd make it obvious maybe who it was to a lot of people. So I'd rather not say that, yeah? But I mean, what's your what's she said also that she and I'd ask you as a LinkedIn expert here on this question. She said that she's heard that if you are in a pod, that the algorithm picks it up very quickly and then, you know, sort of relegates your content when you post. Is that true?
But it can be a bit like, do you know what a shadow ban is?
No.
So you can get what's called a shadow ban on, for example, Instagram, where you think everything's normal. You think you're getting all the likes and all sorts that you think you were getting. But effectively your content's going nowhere. You've just been relegated to Division 5, and you don't notice because it still serves you, well, it will still serve you likes and things like that, but they're not the right type, and it's just not, you'll never get the traction. So she could have gone down the whole of, yes, it's spotted she's in a pod, and you know, probably quite a lot of people. It depends how many people. Do you know how many's in the pod?
I'd guess maybe 20 or something like that. I mean, when I was in it, there was about 10, 11, 12. I guess it's grown a bit since then.
Yeah, so they're all liking, sharing, commenting and all that sort of thing, and then hoping to pick up some traction on top of that. But I think probably the problem is she's probably not, one, putting out the right message. It may well be a lot of salesy, you know, posts that it's just promotional. And that's probably the biggest problem I see on LinkedIn all the time, is people posting content that is, you know, this is us, come and get it. This is what we're selling. This is our product. And it's got very little personality, or, you know, that's, you've got to educate people. So, and we're as guilty as any. And some of the stuff we've been doing recently has sort of shifted the gears. But I was talking to you the other day, you know, it is little things, little tiny things make all the difference.
Yeah.
And account-based marketing is one thing that's really working. So going after very specific people and marketing around them and engaging that person and deliberately making an effort to engage with that person's team and the things that they're liking and sharing, that makes a big difference. Obviously,
Yeah.
you don't want to turn into a stalker. You know,
No.
No good popping up and just saying great post, Dave, all the time. You know what I mean? If Dave's your target, because Dave's soon going to crack on to the fact that you're just stalking him. But if you can be insightful and comment on the things that the people Dave cares about, you know, their posts, you will be seen to be the authority in your niche.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and then that person will come and see you. But it's a slow burn, as you know.
Well, commenting's as you sort of, to paraphrase you, it's not one size fits all. As you say, you can't say great post, Dave, just what we needed on a Monday, very insightful, have a beautiful day. You can't cut and paste that and just change the name to comment on 20 or 30 different posts and expect to get any relevant or meaningful traction, can you?
No, there's plenty of people doing that sort of thing. You know, the typical thing is you see on, if we just look at my feed.
Yeah.
And to be fair, this isn't where you should be searching for things to comment on. But, you know, there's a LinkedIn learning post there, 228 comments. You know, if you can get some visibility in that, it depends whether your potential customers are in there. For me, probably not. And bearing in mind this is an ad, so it's not really where I want to be commenting. So what I'll be looking for is something that's somebody's got some traction, a bit of traction, and jump in on there. But as you can see, look, this is the main problem with LinkedIn. Everybody's posting, and the people that are posting, they're making some half decent effort. They're putting videos out. They're obviously taking time to produce content, but are they getting any traction? You know, the first one we've come to, this Mark here, he's got some. What does he do? He delivers safe events. So a set of tool, right? He's probably not my target, and that's why I wouldn't search in the feed itself, because the time it's going to take to find people that you want to comment on That's the trouble. That's why I use Sales Navigator a lot. But the one thing I wanted to show you here, can you see here, it says most relevant?
Yes.
Right, so this guy's got 27 comments, most relevant, this Alex Leppingwell, right, this is an insightful comment. You know, it's asked a question, you know, I'm not going to comment on what's in the comment, but it's come to the top of that thread of 27 comments because it is the most relevant. So the ability, or the real trick, is to comment on these threads where you can come to the top, you can drive the conversation, you can get the person to respond and to like, and they sort of owe you at that point. You know, you're on their radar. So I know we've talked at length about reach, because it's not about how many people you've got in your network. It's about how many people are in the networks of the people you're commenting on. You know, it's all right having 10, 20, 30K connections yourself, but when you put a post out, you're effectively stood in a networking event in the corner with all these people in the room, and you're standing there with your little banner waving it, you know, come and buy from me. Well, nobody's coming over, you know, not unless you go out and shake some hands. So it's far more effective to go out and talk to people. So by that, I mean commenting on their posts, but comment in an insightful way, because you wouldn't walk up to somebody in a networking event and just spout out, oh, hi, I'm Simon. I do PPC, LinkedIn, YouTube ads, videos, this, that, and the other. That's what I do. Do you want to buy off me?
It's really great to see you. Do you come here often?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But or, yeah, nice shirt, Dave. You know, that's it. But you'd rather have somebody get a conversation going. So, you know, oh, I see, Steve, that you support this football team. You know, have you been following them long? Blah, blah, blah. You know, at least you can start a conversation around the topic. You tell me how effective it is compared. Like, if I get my prospect talking, let them talk and talk and learn about them. But if I'm the person who drove the conversation in the first place, that falls below that person's post, and then all of their network see me. So that's the real sort of trick.
Funny, actually, I was 2 minutes late for coming on here, because I was just finishing off a comment, because I don't even know whether this person is my target audience or anybody in the feed was in the target audience, but she asked the question, are you an introvert or an extrovert? And then went on to talk about that. And I said, actually, that's very interesting. I think I'm a bit of both, because if I'm driving a conversation like this, say this was a meeting and there was 50 people on this call, I rise to be the leader of certainly the compare, let's say, or host type character. I like that. I like doing that front of room from a stage, you know, in a hotel conference room or in a boardroom as well. But the minute that is over, I am definitely not the guy who then will spend 2 hours in the bar continuing the conversation and letting it, you know, and then it goes into people's personal lives and you all get pissed and I'm out of there. I don't want to do that. So in a sense, I'm maybe a bit introvert, a bit antisocial. That I'm not antisocial with people who are in my on my wavelength, who I know. So if they're into Led Zeppelin, fast motorbikes, contact sports like Muay Thai, and they like drinking beer, then they're my type of guy, you know. But
well, I hit a couple of those. Yeah, I hit a couple of those, so you're all right.
But definitely the beer, right? But
the other point I was trying to make is obviously, like, if you've got 10,000 people in your network and you start posting, LinkedIn's probably only serving that to, you know, maybe 30, 50 people to start with, to see if you get any traction. And then if you get some comments and likes, or, well, you know, it'll serve it to a few more and a few more, but you've got to get it to go quick. And that's where the type of content that is just a bit you know, average or just, you know, general, you know, this is a post for the sake of a post, it ain't going nowhere. Even if you've got 20, 30,000 connections, it just won't happen.
Yeah.
So the point being, if you go out and you shake a load of hands, you start commenting on other people's content, and by that I mean consistently, right? It's no good doing the odd few. You need to do, well, I talk to people, start off doing 3 or 4 a day, right? Then
Yeah.
you'll see a little bit more traction. That'll tell you that it's going to work. Where you want to be is probably 20 or 30 comments a day. And that's quite hard to do quite quickly. But if you get into practice, you know, if you spend 15 minutes a day max, right? And you do your 3 or 4 comments every day, before you start doing it, look, if I go to me and go into my profile, if you scroll down, you should see your dashboard here. So you can see the number of people who viewed your profile, how many post views you get, and all that sort of thing. So what I would say to people is, at the start of a week, make a note of what those figures are, and then consistently go and comment on 3, 4, 5 people's posts, decent ones, not just ones where there's no likes or comments. You know, you need to find something that's got a few and it's your right target, not just anybody, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want an inbound lead. So go and find 5 of those a day. That should take you, with a bit of practice, max 10, 15 minutes, right? And do it every day for a week and come back and see what those numbers say. And you will see a significant uplift. Now, if you do that, yeah, you do that week in, week out, and as you do it, you will learn to do it quicker and quicker and quicker. Then if you can get to 15, 20, 25 comments a day, and that then might take you 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, at that point, you really, really will see those numbers rocketing. And because of that, if you're seen as the expert, you'll get the inbound leads. You'll get leads like I get, where I'll just get a message that says, I want a quote for my business, and I'll message back saying, oh, have I been recommended? As someone sort of, you know, someone suggested you deal with me, and they'll just go, no, I just want someone who knows what they're doing, you know, and I'm already there. For somebody to do that, you've clearly been perceived as an authority in the way that you've positioned yourself and the amount of traction that you've got. So you've kind of answered my next question, because I was going to say, not just for my benefit, but for anybody who might be watching this Zoom recording, is it possible to get free direct sales leads via LinkedIn posting? And you've just answered it categorically by saying yes. You're getting people message you saying they want to work with you. Well, look, back in the day, I was one of the guys. I automated the entirety of LinkedIn and did all the outbound research, and I'm sure you've all seen it. You know, you log in and you can clearly see that people have sent you an automated message. So you'll get a connection, you know, I'm looking to grow my network with XYZ industry professionals or influencers, would love to connect, right? And then the job title might be BDM, you know, and then, you know, literally an hour later, you're going to get a message in that's 2, 3, 4 paragraphs long with a link to the current favorite at the moment is to a roundtable discussion for high level directors, you know, let's talk about what's coming on out of lockdown, right? Or a link to a white paper, or, you know, do you just want to book a call with us about XYZ products? You know, we see you're in this and this industry, right? It's just direct sales at that point. And you're like, everybody is turned off to that completely. They hate it, right? And I even reply to people now when I've had the 3rd or 4th message off them and say, can you please turn your automated sales system off, because it's a bag of shit, right? Because it ain't going to sell to no one. Yes, it will work, right? It will work, because I've done it in the past, and you might get 0.5%, you know, reply and give you a decent, oh yeah, that'd be interesting, let's have a conversation. But obviously you've got to then convert it, and then it generates loads of conversations. You know, it does generate a lot of, you might get a thumbs up off someone, and then you've got to start, oh, tell me a bit more about your business, or, you know, how's XYZ doing? I see we're connected to so and so, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work to do all of that. Whereas if you grow your network quickly, and you can do that in an automated way, and sort of LinkedIn is a bit, can frown on it, can not. There's ways to do it properly. But once you've got the big network, then you just go out and you talk to it. And that one comment on somebody else's post, which is a good post, is probably worth at least 10 of your own posts.
Yeah.
So if you're doing, you know, if you're doing 10 comments a day, good ones that are relevant, that's, you know, that's the equivalent to 700 posts a week. You can't do that.
You know, with you saying about the messaging there and whatnot, and sort of being cheesy, cliched, do you get these ones? I absolutely hate these. You know, you connect with someone, either way, whether you've connected to them, reached out to them, or vice versa, and they send you this message. This really does get my goat. It says, "Hi Steve, how are you doing? Thanks for connecting. Tell me, how are you finding things in these interesting times?" Fuck off! You know?
It's like, it's so amateurish. It's like,
just,
and that was me 5 years ago. I've done all that. You know, we used to do that en masse for hundreds of people.
yeah. I mean, it just gets my back. I have gone back to a few people and said, "How do you mean by it? What's interesting, particularly at the moment? Tell me." You know, I could be a lot more brusque than that if I wanted, but I normally calm it down a little bit. But it's
then you're also wasting your breath, because
you waste time.
Most of those campaigns are run by VAs anyway. So there's loads and loads of people out there that are, you know, they've got a team in Malaysia that are running the LinkedIn account and doing all the outreach. And then when they do get a message, they'll choose whether it's something, oh, it's a sales one, right? Give it to the UK team for them to deal with.
Yeah, I have a friend who's in a I won't mention the company name, but a very, very successful, one of the biggest network marketing companies, and he's actually based in Asia, but he's got a lady, I think in the Philippines, he was telling me. I've just come back from Malaysia, as you know, so he was telling me that he's got a lady in the Philippines who does exactly that. She's got some sort of automated software, which, as you say, may or may not be frowned upon by the higher echelons of LinkedIn. And they're hitting up maybe 150, 200 people a day. And as soon as they get them, and it's just a funnel filling, it's a sifting exercise. Yeah.
Pray and pray.
That's what they do. Yeah. That's what they do to grow it. You know, they're kind of gaming the system to a degree. Yeah. So we're going to talk a bit about using Sales Navigator today, weren't we? A bit of an insight into that, because I said I'm very happy to I'm very happy. What is it? 50 quid a month. So I mean, it's not expensive, but it's expensive if you're just paying 50 quid a month and you're not using it, because it's like all this, oh, I've got Photoshop, I've got Excel, well, can you use it? And then if you can use it, do you use it? Do you get a benefit from it? So I would love to get to that position where you are with your LinkedIn, where you've got people saying, you know, I'd really like to talk to you. What you do looks really interesting. Could you even give us a quote? Can we have a discovery call? Which I'm not getting from my traction on LinkedIn, although I'm almost at, I'm just short of 10K in connections at the moment, you know, which is, I suppose it's not massive compared to some people's. I know, you know, Dan Disney, who's in a similar niche to me with sales training, telesales and calling and that. I think he's about 350,000 connections on LinkedIn, which is monstrous, isn't it? You know.
Well, he'll have 30k connections and 300k followers. Yeah. So
what's the what is the difference then? You know, where so you'll see somebody on LinkedIn, you click and think, oh, he or she looks interesting, and there's nothing there. How have they set it where it says it doesn't? If you click the dots, you can connect, but it doesn't automatically up front invite you to connect, but it'll say follow. What has that person done to make it appear like that?
well, either they've hit their full 30k connections, or they've put the setting in there that they're not accepting any more connections. So you can do that, yeah. But and plus people will be coming up in searches as suggested. So you can use it as a search engine. So if you are the go-to sales guy and everybody knows that, and you're the influencer, you will come up more and more and more often as a suggested connection or a suggested person to follow as an influencer. And then the more, this is all about rolling up the snowball. So the more often you post, the more consistent you are. You know, I'll share with you later, if you want to put the link in, I wrote an article which is the 10 C's of LinkedIn, and one of them is consistency, another one's content. But if you're consistent and you come up and you're listed as the go-to person in a particular industry, that's when it really catches fire, which is what's happened with someone like Dan, because he used to post back in the day quite a lot of memes and things that resonated with salespeople. So they were all just clicking like, follow, share, comment, and it just exploded through that whole entire industry. You could get away with doing that back then, but you can't really do that now to get an account to take off. I wanted to.
That's a classic example of what made you successful 5 years ago won't necessarily work to the same extent, if at all, today, because things change, and they're changing a lot quicker now than they have done traditionally in the past, you know, sort of pre-online, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like the cost to advertise on LinkedIn is absolutely horrendous. If you, you know, you can burn money like putting money in a dustbin. You know what I mean? If you get carried away and don't do your targeting properly, you can spend 60, 70, 80 pound, 1,000 to hit people. And if your targeting isn't right, you'll get no return. But that's why you only really see the proper big brands advertising on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to someone this morning about the future of Facebook, and my personal belief is it's saturated. It is absolutely saturated with tons and tons of small advertisers, and Facebook has to move away from allowing people to get the traction of like £2, £3, £4 per 1,000 views, because they've only got so much advertising real estate there for content to be served into. So the same applies to LinkedIn, you know, but LinkedIn have took the opinion that, well, we'll only put premium content in. So the only way Facebook, in theory, can massively increase its revenue would be to move from a model of allowing any man and his dog to advertise, you know, who wants to put a campaign up, to slowly discouraging that by creeping the price up, putting the reach down, and eventually it will only be the bigger brands that can afford to advertise in that space.
But listen, they've done that. I mean, I was talking, you know, you've spoken with Carl a few times, yeah. So he's very into this, not your particular niche, but he's into this space. And you know, it's like from talking to him, I glean. So let's say, you know, you went off to outer Borneo and you discovered an indigenous tribe that had the miracle weight loss cure. So you came up and we came back and we set up Simon and Steve's miracle weight loss. Facebook wouldn't let us advertise, but say it's contentious, it doesn't fit within community guidelines, all that bullshit, yeah? For that, or if it was some sort of investment, the same. But you know, the blue chip companies can advertise, SlimFast can advertise, Barclays can advertise, yeah? So they've already done that in a way, haven't they? Just by being quote unquote, you know, more selective. And it's a very, very ambiguous phrase, that, isn't it? Meet community guidelines. What the fuck
Yeah.
does that mean? You know,
Well, you're not allowed to imply. Yeah, I'm not allowed to imply you might be overweight. So therefore, I can't use the word you. You can see our great weight loss product. No, because I'm implying you're overweight. But should we have a quick buzz through Sales Navigator, and I'll show you a couple of little neat bits.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So
one of
speaking of sales, then, just to clarify, for anyone who's on here's benefit, what you said to me the other day when I showed you, I was sort of bemoaning the fact that I'd not had a lot of traction on that post where I'd put up the cover of the PDF brochure to my Call and Grow Rich course and saying, you know, oh, this is great, especially at this time. And you said, I know it might be counterintuitive, but you're trying to sell from that feed, and that's not the way. It turns people off.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everything is a sale. Like here's the clue, right? And this is the point that everybody misses, right? And I've said this for years, right? The clue is it's called social media, right? Not sales media, social media. As in, let's socialize. Yeah, people have missed that. They just think, and I'll tell you where it comes from, Steve. It comes from the fact that when Facebook and Twitter and all that started, right? The guy who owned a company, everybody said, well, oh, we've got to be on social media. We've got to be on social. Who do we get to do it? Oh, I know. Get Jonathan to do it. You know, he's 20. He's just out of uni. He'll know what it's all about because he's a young lad and he knows social media. Well, every company in the country suddenly went, let's get on social media. And all of them had their Jonathans or Sarahs or whoever they were, fresh out of uni, new social. None of them had any marketing experience, or very few of them did. And they went to themselves, so what do we post? Oh, this is the company we work for. This is the product we do. Let's sell it. Let's sell it. And then suddenly social media became sales media. And people are still blind to that today. They ain't got a clue. It is nothing to do with that. Try looking at the name of it. It is social media.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, not to bemoan the fact that you are the world's top sales trainer.
That's very kind of you. There's some great people out there. I just think I'm very experiential. You know, I'm not someone who's just gone out, read a book or done an NLP or a hypnosis or whatever course in my middle 40s and thought, oh, this would be a nice way to earn a living. I've been there, like you, I've been there, done it, seen it over 25, 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sales Navigator, let's see how it can be worth the investment of 50 quid a month.
So if you've never seen it before, this is effectively the database of LinkedIn.
Okay.
Being the premium product that they offer, there are several different flavors of premium, but there's recruiter, sales teams, all sorts, right? But Sales Navigator is the go-to one that gets you into the database. Where people then go wrong is they, like you said, they don't use it. It's, you know, they've got a Harley Davidson and they put no petrol in it. So knowing how to do the searches on here is enormously powerful if you can use a few little tips and tricks. People don't know, for example, I've done a search here, people working as marketing director. So my target is pretty much marketing directors most of the time.
Okay.
So I could have gone I could have put quote marketing director like that, and that will find the word marketing director in people's profiles, but not necessarily. They could have been a marketing director a year ago and now they're the manager of Tesco's. So that's not who I want, right? So this list here that I've got, oh, it's now going to do the search, so we might as well let it come up and we'll see that it's not necessarily right. And the trick is also they nearly always look right, these searches, to begin with. So by that I mean, okay, marketing director, 700,000 people, let's just tune it down to the UK, 66,000, and let it populate. Now if I start scrolling down, these look pretty good, not too bad. you know, sales and marketing director, blah, blah, blah. Right, so it looks okay. And when I say looks pretty good to start with, what you want to do is go down here and look 10 pages deep. And I'm not, there are obviously quite a lot of marketing directors in the UK, so it may still look half decent, and it, you know, it actually does, to prove that I haven't pre-prepared my search, so to speak. But you can see that this is okay-ish, but it is preferable for me to do current job title as marketing director. Let's just go back to that search. So up here, you've got saved searches. There's that search that I did earlier, right? So we'll just bob back onto that one. So people working as marketing director, geography, UK. So you can see that's now 36K. So it's going to cut out a lot of my sales and marketing guys, all of that. One thing you don't want to use, or I don't find very useful, is function or job title. Because if you start going down here, hang on, marketing director, right, I could choose that, but the problem is most people don't fill their profiles out completely on LinkedIn. You know, people like you and I do, and my profile is complete, but you got to remember, your average person on here probably doesn't bother putting in a complete set of details in, so they don't, you know, they won't necessarily put in their seniority level, they won't necessarily attach themselves to a company, right? So, you know, I could just choose the Lego group, you know, and that would give me the 22 people working in marketing for Lego. Can you see? That's, if I want to go after a particular company, that's a good way to go about it. If I take that back out, one of the really useful things that I use is company headcount. That does work. So you can start choosing the bigger or the smaller. You know, I might probably want to cut out the self-employed people, or just go after the really, really big brands. You know, let's say I was going after that. And you start scrolling down, Indeed, Bacardi, you know, all sorts of really, really big companies. So pitching your offer at the right level of person, that's really useful, doing it that way. But what you want to be doing is creating leads lists. So creating the list of people that you want to interact with. So, you know, let's say Gareth is a second connection of mine. I would do relationship. So the difference obviously between the different levels of connection are: first, people that I'm connected to; second, people that are connected to people that I'm connected to, friend of a friend; and then third, no connection at all. So I just say, don't bother trying to connect to the thirds. Go and find some seconds first, and that'll increase your seconds. You know, ignore the thirds, because that's where you can get spammy. But if I wanted to, say Gareth was my target marketing director at Indeed, I would save him into a save list. So I'd create a list, and let's call this marketing directors 10.
I'll just ask you a question very quickly.
Yeah, go on.
Clarify something. Third, so Gareth here is a second of yours. If you're watching, Gareth, hi, hope you're well.
I'll tag him in later. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll say hi later. But so Gareth's a second of yours. So that means that he is a first connection of one of your firsts, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said about the thirds. A third would be one of Gareth's firsts, would it? As he's a second to you?
Well, not necessarily. So he could be connected. He could already, well, he is already connected to some people that I'm connected to.
You have mutuals, yeah.
We've got some mutual connections, but one of his connections might not be connected to me, and that would be my third. So it would be, but once I get to Gareth and I get him connected, all of his seconds are all of his connections are my seconds. Yeah. So if you look at it that way, you haven't got to get that many really good connections to get lots of seconds to go at.
Gotcha.
All right. But once you save someone as a lead, you know, you want to start looking at, if I go here, Sales Navigator home. So I've got my my feed, the people, my leads here. So these are the people that I'm connected to, and this is the stuff they're posting. So this is where I want to, you know, we talked about being here in the home feed.
Yeah.
And that can feed me anything from anyone in my network. Well, I've got 24,000 odd connections, so I don't think I'm going to get 24,000 posts a week. You know, if I'm scrolling down, I might get to see, let's say I get to see 500 posts a week if I'm lucky. So even if all 24,000 posted, I would no chance see all of that content. And obviously I'm quite a heavy user of LinkedIn compared to most people. So
Yeah.
what you got to imagine is most people, they probably only see a handful of posts. So this again shows you, if you start commenting on people's content, they will then start seeing you. Like in the notifications, you'll see here, people that look, use your profile, also commented on someone's post. Another person that's commented on a post. There's Billy Schwer, that that I interact with Billy occasionally. So there's his post when it decides to come up. So he does really well. He gets quite a lot of comments. Look, he's driving some engagement, getting plenty of views.
I know he's getting business from this. He's very popular. I mean, I've just actually recently did a podcast interview with him. I'm just waiting for the edit from my son, but it was great.
Yeah, but
great fun.
If you look at, right, so I haven't set this up, right? I promise you I haven't set this up. But here's Billy's post, right? He's well known. He's he's an ex-world champ, right? So there's his post, and he talks about mental agility and all that sort of thing. Here's his post. He's got 18 comments so far. Who's at the top? Most relevant, me, right? So all I've done is looked at what he's talking about, and then I've said, I've started looking for help and feedback from other people that I'm dealing with, and tagged him in. I've used a hashtag. Whether you use hashtags in posts that's a personal choice. I don't use them all the time, and just to highlight a point sometime, but he's commented on it. Like it, Simon. If you don't ask, you don't get, right? It's a great conversation starter. So guess who's the most relevant? And it's not that hard.
You can see who's the most second relevant as well. That'd be me.
Hey, shows you're learning. You're getting there, just not quite as good as me yet. But if we go back to Sales Navigator, this is the list of people that I've tagged as leads, right? They're the people that I actually want to engage with, really. I don't go in the home feed and start commenting, because it would just take you far too long. But if you start, you start scrolling down here and looking for something to comment on, eventually and I'm struggling to read this as I'm going along, right? So let's have a look. Bill Muse shared a post. Drones perform challenging acrobatic moves. Right? Oh, that's quite cool, because I'm into all that sort of tech stuff. So if I go and view that post that he's put, it'll come up on the right here in Sales Navigator. So there's the post. It's actually an article on interestingengineering.com that either he's written or shared, right? So founder and CEO of Crisis Team, right? Look, he's done all that effort. Not a single comment or a like. What a shame. Absolutely appalling. Bill is going to get well fed up with LinkedIn at some point and not bother. Now, it might be the case. It may well be the case. Yeah, he might have somebody doing his posting for him. You don't know, right? Maybe not. But what I can think of something straight off the top of my head that I can comment here, right? And let's put, I've seen these done with light shows and obviously in films.
It looks like the Vodafone logo a bit, doesn't it?
could be awesome if they get this really going. I'm under pressure now because I'm having to do it live, right? Really going big style in your own, you know, in my own phraseology, right? What do you think will be the possibilities in terms of marketing opportunity, right? So that
put questions regularly then into these comments so that you get, so people respond and you expand the engagement.
do I what?
In these comments, is it advisable to sometimes or oftentimes put a comment in, a question in the comment there, so that rather than Bill just say, you know, like your comment, Bill's then got to answer your question. He could ignore you, but he probably won't.
Yeah, he could. Of course he can ignore me, right? Yeah. But if I, well, hopefully he's going to respond and come up with, oh, I think these would be great for, or they've been used in this way and that way, and then other people are going to go, oh yeah, I've seen that, you know, I like that, I could do that. Oh, what do you think, John? Blah, blah, tagging other people in. You know what I mean? That's where I've almost hijacked his post, haven't I?
Well, you have, because no one else is there. So
well, no one else is there, but I would rather comment on posts where there's like 20, 30, 40 people already commenting, because they will then see me as well. But one other really cool trick is, right, if we can find one here that's got some, let's see if we can find one that's got some traction. We're not guaranteed to do that, because these oh, it's him again, poor old Bill.
He's more or less, sorry for the pun here, Billy no mates, isn't he?
Well, yeah. So
in terms of post interaction,
right? This is, you know, this is a share, so it's not as good. Very interesting, in my opinion. One of the key traits of a good leader demonstrates, right, well, look, this is someone doing the same sort of thing that I've just shown you to do. But if we can find, right, let's go back to the home feed, because we're going to find some that have got more comments on them. Oh, Billy will do as an example, right? So this post here, let's say the type of people that I want to do business with are the same people that Billy's doing business with, right? So in my world, if it was a post by a marketing influencer, I'd be looking at that post and I'd be commenting, but then what you want to do is go and potentially connect with these other people that are commenting, right? So if I was in the world of boxing and I see Wayne Smith pop up, and I'm after people who are in boxing, I'm going to go on to Wayne, right? I'm going to view him in Sales Navigator. When it comes up, give it a sec, right? I'm going to save him as a lead, right? Yeah. So save, create a lead list. I'm going to call the lead list boxing, right? I'll save that. Now, when Wayne posts, I will get that, right? I'm also going to connect with Wayne, and I would put something like, hi, Wayne, see you follow and comment on posts that Billy Schwer, is that how you spell it? I'm challenging myself now. I'm just going to put Billy posts, yeah. Can we connect? I'd do a bit more of it. I'd probably put, you know, because I enjoy boxing myself, blah, 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 something like that. But I'm going to send that invitation. Now, if you start connecting with the people that are in the space that where you want your leads from, one, they're going to connect with you. Two, I've commented on the same post. The chances are Wayne's seen me at some point anyway. I've now mentioned somebody that, you know, I'm following, he's following. We've now got a bit of not a relationship, but a digital handshake at some point.
Yeah.
And then now if Wayne then connects or replies, he will see my content when I start posting it.
Right.
I can then show him some love when I see his posts in my Sales Navigator home feed. When I start seeing Wayne, I can start commenting on those people. You know, you see what I mean? I can start looking through my lists. I can start looking at my leads. I can start boxing. I can see all the people in that search. Okay, I'm not somebody in boxing, so you know, if I'd added Billy in as a lead and put him into the boxing list, you can see how you'd very quickly build up a group of people in a particular industry where you can start almost then recycling your comments, because you can start talking to all of them, and then you are the person. You're the I'm the go-to person at that point for marketing in that industry. If I start going after everybody in boxing and, oh, Billy knows me, some other people know me, you know, oh yeah, Wayne's talking about me. That's the way to do it, is just start targeting individual people. You know, if you want to tell me somebody who would be a good lead for you. An industry.
Well, you know what? Classically, I guess, you know, the telemarketing industry. So, you know, I would like to do fresh business with organisations that have people either selling on the telephone or performing customer service related activities on the telephone. And particularly now, and I say this, you know, this is a sales push, by the way, but I don't care. But for anybody people who've been, like my bank, for example, they're all working from home now. You can tell there's no background noise, you know, they've told me as well, you know, so because of this COVID situation. So I feel that I can bring more to the party than just a quote unquote sales trainer, with my in-depth knowledge of personal development, mental toughness. I've been studying this for a long time to help people who maybe, it's a double-edged sword, that working from home, isn't it? You've not got a boss looking over your shoulder, but then again, you've not got the company, you've not got the camaraderie that a lot of people go to work for and enjoy at work. They're on their own, they're isolated, and they've got to be extra more self-disciplined as well. So I can help people with that. So I suppose a small, medium enterprise with maybe a team of 20 or 30 people on the phones doing telemarketing or customer service would be an ideal target prospect for me, Simon.
So this is where the consistency and the method comes in, right? So I've gone for managing director and telemarketing UK, right? So if I start looking down this list, I might actually go on to people who've posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, because obviously we know they're on there and they're a bit more active, because you've got to remember, most people aren't on there like we are, right? They might only bob on once every other week. So it's probably actually lifted up a bit during COVID. But if you start scrolling down this list, Mike Kendall, Managing Director, IT, Telemarketing Services, right? Let's just do, you said smaller companies. So let's do company headcount, right? And we'll do the ones that have got 11 to 50.
Okay.
Might be your sweet spot. The thing to do is always get these searches really, really fine down and get the exact person, right? So you've got 690 here, 266 have posted in the last 30 days. So 266 prospects for a month, any good for you? I think so.
Could be if we know what to do with them, definitely.
So, right. So here's your list. If you started saving these into a list called telemarketing, managing directors, telemarketing, and we know they've posted, 266 of them have posted in the last 30 days. if you commented on all of those and used the right language, so by that I mean, if I was the MD, and I do this quite a lot as a role play with potential clients, so you do a Zoom call with a potential client, and you would say to me, Simon, you pretend to be the person who's running the telemarketing business, and I try and sell to you. And you might say to me, first thing, right, how many staff you got? Right. And then are you thinking of, at the moment, you might say, well, you know, are they, many of them off furlough, blah, blah, blah. And you'd have a chat with the person. Now, the words I use as the prospect, those are the words that go in your adverts. Those are the words you must use in your posts. So if I start talking about my pain points, as in, you hear several of them saying, yeah, I've got some youngsters working for me, but yeah, they're really ambitious. Right now, the word ambitious, you could start using that in your posts, because that's the way the person's thinking. I've got ambitious people, but have they got enough knowledge? That could be, this is part of this is your post, and you start talking about a testimonial where, and now we're starting to move into sales. You know, maybe we're just becoming a bit salesy, but you can post those type of sales posts or comments into these people's posts. So if they're putting stuff up and you're putting, I've been working with some ambitious young people in other telemarketing organizations, and one of the things that really worked, Paula, you know, was when I got a couple of them on the Zoom and we just gave them a bit of a role play situation, blah, blah, blah. So I've not gone sell, sell, sell. I've gone, this is a really, really good way of working with your ambitious young people, that we know you're thinking that they're ambitious. They just haven't got the knowledge. Now, yeah, you get me. So I know that's something I've come off the top of my head, but I can see that being really powerful.
Yeah. No, totally. I agree. And that, you know, that resonates. So, you know, if you make a group of, let's say we took half of these people, we looked at them and we took half of them and put them into that new folder, managing directors, telemarketing companies. Can you mass message, mass post to these people automated in LinkedIn? Does the Navigator allow you to do that?
No, you can send in-mails, but you would use in-mails to people you're not connected to. Obviously, the people you are connected to at first level, yes, you can message them. And let's say, look, let's say this was me. If I do relationship first, and I don't know whether I've got any telemarketing people and managing directors, well, as it happens, I've got 28. So I could start messaging these people, right? And I could copy and paste a message and send it to all 28 of them if you wanted to do it that way. And that is allowable. So you can do that. It might be quite time consuming compared to the way I do it, but you know, I still run a few accounts for people that are trusted, and I work with, you know, to generate really, really big bits of business. I don't get involved in the dirty end of the, you know, generating money and leads for just anyone at the moment. You know, some of the people I work with, they're getting leads that are worth millions. But teaching a team, you know, if you've got a team of salespeople and they've then built up a list of, look, here's a couple of hundred of people in telemarketing and they're all managing directors. If you could craft that message correctly and send it to them, yes, you'll get some sort of response, right? But like we talked about earlier, it would be far, far more effective to start commenting on I can't say how effective that is. Commenting on the stuff that these people are posting is
commenting where it's at,
yeah. That's when they'll see you and see you all the time. And then what we would do is, after a month or two, when you've built up a big following of telemarketing MDs, we would start crafting some articles and some posts that are talking about knowledge in young people, ambition, all of those words that would come out of a discovery session, you know, if you have a discovery Zoom and you role play these situations, suddenly it's a lot easier than looking at it from, you know, your side of the fence. It's right, I want to sell you this product. I'm bloody brilliant at what I do. I'm really amazing. I can give you, you know that you're brilliant, right? All you want to do is just show them that you're actually thinking about them. So more, you want to speak from their language, and then it will resonate a lot more with them, and then they'll start. That's when you'll get the inbound inquiries. But that's when you've got to have the strategy in place to do this consistently. Do it every day. Have a you know, we run Google Docs for each client where we'll say, you know, this is the content that's going out this week. This is the target. This is the messaging. This is their these are their ESPs. This is what we're actually trying to get into the messaging. And that's where people go wrong, because they just think, I post on LinkedIn, it's not working for me.
What you're saying distills down to a classic quote from Zig Ziglar regarding this. It's that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So it's taking the interest in them first, rather than saying, you know, look at me, I'm a whoopee-doo. Yeah, I honestly thought that, you know, and this is a true statistic, by the way, it was a result I got for a telesales team at Siemens in one of their divisions, and we got a 74% increase in their telesales results in less than 3 months. And I naively thought, oh, I'll put up that because it's true. And I've got a testimonial from the guy somewhere. It was a couple of years ago. You know, that'll get people, you know, really chomping at the bit, and nobody cares, or nobody sees it. You know, no one engages with it. No one comes back and says, oh, how did you do that, Steve? You know, it's, yeah. So it's going at it from their perspective, not yours, isn't it?
Well, we got there in the end when we got to the Zig Ziglar quote. That sums it up. I didn't know that quote, but that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. It's a great quote, isn't it? You know, he also, it's probably his most famous quote is, you can have everything that you want in life if you'll help enough other people to get what they want from life, you know. But basically says, if you do that with a good intention as well, and you can have a whole sort of spiritual woo-woo conversation about that and whatever, but that your success and everything will be a natural byproduct. You don't have to worry about that, because it will come. And it's very true to a large degree once you get the traction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Once you get the momentum.
And you've got to feel it, you know, and it does take, look, if anybody's listening by now, because we're an hour in, but if people are listening and they want to have a go at this, go at it hard for a month, right? And I will absolutely guarantee you, by the end of that month, you will be getting inbound inquiries, and you'll feel it, and then you'll believe it, and then you will double down on what you're already doing. And then when you get to that stage, you can phone me up and say, right, how do I take it to the next level above that? Because I could sit here and tell you about Sales Navigator for a whole day. You know, so the little bits and pieces.
It's probably shared in, you know, certainly for me, it's broadened my scope of understanding of what it is. Because when I looked at it, I actually bought this before. And I just looked at it, and it just looked like a very nice dashboard to me, digital dashboard to me, but that was about it. I didn't know how to use it, and therefore I didn't use it. You know, it's that whole thing of fear born out of ignorance. So I was afraid to get to grips with it. But
it's like any of these tools, isn't it? There's millions of tools out there.
This is it.
I would class myself as, for example, a quite advanced Photoshop user, right? I know how to use, I can do quite a lot with it, but there's probably another 1,000 features that I've never touched. You know, the guys that really know it can do magic on it. And it's the same with the back end databases here, where if you can get the searches right and you just stick to a consistent plan and don't try and do too much. And because there's loads of people out there thinking, oh, I've got to make another post on LinkedIn this week. What can I do? And then they distill it back to, oh, it's another sales post. And then they write maybe some evergreen content that starts going out each week. And now you're stuck in it's not social media anymore. It's now sales media.
Yeah. I think that's a good point you made there. Just start doing a little bit of what, there's no point, because if you try, it's like anything like this, if you try and become an expert at this or an expert in Photoshop in one fell swoop, you just get overwhelmed and then you end up quitting, don't you? Because you can't, you've got to learn it incrementally, find out what works for you, and then, you know, you take it up a level, take it up a notch all the time. Yeah, good. It's been interesting. I noticed on your profile, Simon, that you'd failed to complete your profile as far as Windsor Boys School. Would you not just type in got caned every day? I did. I went to an all-boys school. We're a similar age. So I went to an all-boys school in the 1970s, and I used to get the slipper and the cane, because I was yes,
I have had the slipper, the cane. I've had the favourite was the throwing of the board rubber. Have you had that one from a distance? When the blackboard's getting cleaned and then you're talking, it's like, whoa! It nearly takes your head off.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away with that these days, no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Anyway, it was all good fun at the time, wasn't it? And I can't say it's traumatized me. So listen, thanks for your time today. It's been insightful for me. And when we upload this to LinkedIn, I'm hoping it's going to be insightful for people in your feed and in my feed. And we'll catch you on the next one, yeah?
Yeah. See you later, Steve.
Yes, Simon. Thanks.
Bye.